Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad was first published in 1997 and quickly became must-read for the people interested in the investing, money and global economic. The book has been translated into the dozen of languages sold around the world and has become the #1 personal finance book all time. The overarching theme of Rich Dad Poor Dad is how to use money as a tool wealth development. It destroys the myth that the rich are born rich, explain why your personal residence may not really be assessed, describe the real difference between an asset and liability and much more. Lesson learned. 6 lessons Robert Kiyosaki learned from his Rich Dad about the making money and mistake that Poor Dad made. 5 obstacles to overcome before you can become rich and stay rich. 10 steps to follow to develop your financial genius. Actionable to-do step you can put to work right away. Chapters or section summaries. Rich Dad Poor Dad contains a total of 10 characters plus the introduction, but much of the book is focused on the first 6 part or lessons. We will cover the introduction and the first 6 lessons, then the remaining 4 sections later in this review. Introduction. Robert Kiyosaki, author of The Rich Dad Poor Dad, has 2 main influential fathers in his life. Poor Dad was Kiyosaki's biological father, a man who was highly intelligent and very well educated. Poor Dad believed study hard and getting good grades, then finding a well-paying job. Yet, despite these seemingly positive attributes, Poor Dad does not do well financially. Rich Dad was the father of Kiyosaki's best friend. He had a similar work ethic to Kiyosaki's real dad, but with a twist. Rich Dad believed in the financial education, learning how money works and understanding how make money work for you. I thought he was an 8th grade dropout. Rich Dad eventually became a millionaire by putting the power of money to work for him. The book is written from Kiyosaki's perspective, how Rich Dad went about making money and mistakes that Poor Dad made. The first 6 chapters of Rich Dad Poor Dad make up about 2/3 of book and discuss the 6 lessons that Kiyosaki learned from his Rich Dad. Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. Oftentimes, people misunderstand the title of character and mistakenly believe that it means rich don't work. In fact, the complete opposite is true. Instead of reading the chapter title as Rich Don't Work for Money, what Kiyosaki means to say is that the rich don't work for money, not that by putting the emphasis and word money, this section take on an entirely different meaning. The truth is that the majority of rich people do work very hard, but they go about it different than most people do. Rich people and people who want to become rich work and learn every day how to put money to work for them. As Rich Dads say, the poor and middle class work for money, the rich have money work for them. Kiyosaki also notes that having a regular job is just a short-term solution to the long-term problem or challenges of creating wealth and financial freedom. It's fear that keeps to most people working at a job. The fear of not paying the bill. They fear being too fired. The fear of not having enough money. And the fear of shorting over. That's the price of studying to learn a professor or grade and then working for money. Most people become slave to money and then get angry at their boss. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? The second chapter of Rich Dad Poor Dad explains that difference between an asset and liability. Chapter 2 drives home the point that it's not about how much money you make, but about how much money you keep. An asset is something that has value, that produces income or appreciates and has a market where the assets can easily bought and sold. Number 1, asset produce income, asset appreciate, assets do both. Conversely, liabilities take money out of your pocket because of the costs associated with them. When Rich Dad Poor Dad was first published back in 1997, Kiyosaki created a lot of controversy with his statement. That's because the definition a personal residence is not an asset unless they appreciate enough to offset cost of ownership. On the other hand, rental property is an asset because it can generate through passive income to exceed the expense of operating and financing the real estate. As Kiyosaki writes in chapter 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, want to grow rich, concentrate your effort to buying income producing assets. When you truly understand what as assets is, keep liabilities and expenses low. Your assets column. Chapter number 3. Mind your own businesses. There are two key messages in this chapter. First, pay off your debt and start investing in income-producing assets as soon as possible. Next, stay financially healthy by spending your time instead of your paycheck and investing as much of your money as possible in assets. Kiyosaki notes in chapter 3 of Rich Dad Poor Dad that most people confuse their profession with their businesses. In other words, they spend their entire life working in somebody else's business and making other people rich. One of my favorite quotes from this section is, the primary reason that majority of the poor and middle class are physically conservative is that they have no financial foundation. They have to cling to their job and play it safe. They can't afford to take risks. Chapter number 4. The history of taxes and power of corporations. When reading this chapter, it is important to keep in mind that Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad as a motivational book, not to provide expert financial or take advice. For example, Kiyosaki writes about the time he brought a purchase and treat as a business expenses using before tax dollar, buying a high-end luxury car when a much less expensive make and model could put an investor on the fast track to an IRS audit. But putting the pause aside, the points made in the chapter discuss how to play the invest game smart. The rich understand the power of companies, structure and the tax code and use every legal means they can minimize their tax burden. Compare how business owners and investors with the corporations such a C Corp, S Corps or LLCs pay taxes to how most people pay tax. Business owners with a corporate structure. One earn, second spend, third pay taxes. Employees who work for corporations, one earn, two pay taxes, third spend. Notice that employees who work for somebody else spend their money post-tax while business owners earn and spend before pay tax. Chapter 4 of the book also honors the four main components of what Kiyosaki called financial IQ, accounting, investment strategy, market law and law. As Rich Dad Poor Dad reminds us, understand the legal and taxes advantage significantly contribute to building long-term wealth. For instance, a corporation can pay expenses before paying tax, whereas an employee gets taxes first and most try to pay expenses on what is left. Corporations also offer legal protection from the lawsuit when someone sues a wealthy individual. They are often met to layers of legal protection and often find that the wealthy person actually owns nothing in their own name. They control everything, put personally on nothing. Chapter number 5, Rich Invest Money. Investing money means finding opportunities or deals that other people don't have to skill, knowledge, resources or contact for. In the chapter 5, Rich Dad Poor Dad explains there are two types of investors. Number one, investment packages are brought by people who entrust their money to a developer or fund manager. This is way that most people invest, such as buying shares of an ETF or putting money into a real estate crowdfunding venture. Number two, professional investor look after their own investments, research the market to find deals that make sense, then hire professional to manage the daily oversight. Professional investors have three things in common: identify opportunities that other people have not found, raise fund and investment, work with the other intelligent pupils. Here's one of my favorite closing thoughts from this chapter. Some people argue that there are not real estate bargains where they are, but there are prime opportunities everywhere that are overlooked. Most people are not trained financially to recognize the opportunities in the front of them. Chapter number 6, Work to Learn, Don't Work for Money. Poor Dad was intelligent and well educated and worked for money because job security meant it everything to him. Rich Dad became a millionaire by working to learn. As Kiyosaki writes, I recognize to young people to seek work for what they will learn more than what they will earn. Look down to read at what skill they want to acquire before choosing a specific profession and before getting trapped in a rat race. In fact, that's exactly what Kiyosaki did. He joined Marines after graduation from the college and learned the essential business skill of leading and managing people. After serving his country, Kiyosaki joined Xerox, overcome his fear of rejection to become one of top 5 salespeople in the company, then left the corporate would-be from his own business. Chapter number 6, Rich Dad Poor Dad then discusses the synergy of management skill need for success in businesses: cash flow management, system management, people management, overcoming obstacles. Chapter number 7 of Rich Dad Poor Dad bargain by the nothing that the primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. Robert Kiyosaki is not talking about the type of fear that some people have when going to the dentist or watching the exit in the book fair. It's about the fear of losing money and how to handle that fear. It's one of the 5 biggest obstacles people face the path of becoming financial independent. Number 1, fear. Number 2, cynicism. Number 3, laziness. Number 4, bad habits. Number 5, arrogance. These roadblocks and the failure to overcome them are why people who have stupid and achieve financial literacy are still unable to develop assets that ge- generate plentiful amounts of cash flow. Fear. Losing money is effect of investing life, and so is the fear that comes along with its. Kiyosaki note that he is never meet a rich person who has never lost money, but he is meet plenty of pure people who have never lost a dime because they have never invested. Real estate investors who choose a act only on sure thing are personalized by fear in disuse. People who can't see big picture and think big are that ones who almost never ever succeed in investing or in life. Cynicism. Everybody has doubts that affect self-confidence, and it's easy to fall into trap of playing what if, especially when friends and family are constantly reminding you of your potential shortcomings. Things like the economy crashing, interest rates rising, and tenants not paying their rent are coming. What if fears that all real estate investors have? While these are important items to consider, it's important not to allow the cynicism of others to overtake your control. Otherwise, you may become immobilized as opportunities pass to by. Laziness. In today's interconnected world, it's easy to confuse because busy with the actually encompassing thing that they matter. In fact, according to Rich Dad Poor Dad, busy people are often that most lazy. Busy people arrive at the office early and leave late. They bring work home to finish to night and the weekend. Before they know it, the people and things that matter most to them have disappeared. Instead, giving in the call of rat rates and mistaking action for accomplishment, successful real estate investors are proactive and take care of themselves and their wealth first. Bad habits. Habits control behavior. For example, most people pay their bill first before they pay themselves. The result is that there usually very little left over at the end of month for investing. Paying yourself first, even you did not have enough money to pay other people, makes you financially stronger mentally and physically in the way. It's a form of reserve psychology. When you develop the habit of paying yourself first, you become motivated by the fear of not being able to pay creditors. In the turn, you being looking for other forms of income like investment, real estate. Arrogance. Investors know what makes them money, but it's the things they don't know and don't know they don't know that makes them lose money. When people become truly arrogant, they honestly believe that what they don't know does not matter. Overcoming these five biggest obstacles on the path to real estate success require a blend of balance and focus. There are plenty of Jekyll's littles in the world today. People with a victimhood mentally who live their lives in cynicism and pessimism. Rich Dad Poor Dad suggested filtering negative people and their fears out of your life. Instead, concentrate on the big picture and always ask, what's in it for me? Getting started. In the chapter 8, Rich Dad Poor Dad tells us that there is a gold everywhere. Most people are not trained to see it. Part of this lack of vision and clarity comes from the world we live in. We are trained from a very young age to work hard for someone else, spend the money that we earn, and borrow more if run short. Unfortunately, people who choose to become one of the masses never take time to develop their financial genius. Investing in real estate is the perfect example to average person can spend a week out in this field and find nothing, while the investor who has trained himself can easily find 4 or 5 deals that make sense in the single day. Here is the 10 step to follow to develop your financial genius and discover the gold that's already out there just waiting to be found. Number 1, have deep emotional reason or purpose for doing what. Do a combination of wants and don't wants. Number 2, understand the power of choice and choose daily what to do, including choosing the right habit and education yourself. Choose your friends carefully by leveraging to power association, being careful not to listen to poor to fight-ended pupil. Number 4, master the power of learning quickly and develop a formula for making money. Number 5, paying yourself the first, mastering the power of self-discipline to manage your cash flow, pupil and personal time. Number 6, select great people for your team and compensate them generously for their advice, because the more money they make, the more money you will make. Number 7, how fast do I get my money back? By focusing on return of investmenting first, followed by return on investmenting. Use money generated by assets you own to buy luxurious by focusing on self-discipline to direct money to create more. Number 9, have a role model to follow and tap into the power of their genius to put to your use. Number 10, realize that if you want to something, you need to give something first. Still want more? Here are some to-dos. In the final section of Rich Dad Poor Dad, chapter number 9, Kiyosaki pulled the key lesson of book together into a checklist of action you can start taking today. Stop doing what you are doing by taking a break and assessing what is and is not working. Look for new ideas by finding resources on different and unique subjects. Find a mentor who been where you are going, take them to launch and pick their brain. Always be learning by taking classes, attending seminars and reading. Make lots of offer, always the escape clause, because eventually someone will say yes. Spend 10 minutes each month for the next 12 months working, running or drying a certain area and looking for changes that create bargains. Shop for real estate deals when the market correct, because profit are made when buying, not when selling. Learn how, when and where to buy by investing in your education. Think bigger to get richer, because small things don't get the big facts. Most people only look for what they can offer. So buy a bigger pie and cut into pieces by finding a buyer first, then seller. Negotiate volume discount by thinking big, pulling people together and buying in bulk. Read and learn from the history because history always repeats itself. Action always beats inaction. Is Rich Dad Poor Dad worth reading? The goal of Rich Dad Poor Dad is to motivate you to develop your own unique path to financial freedom. While the book does not take a one-size-fits-all approach with the ready-made answers, it does provide an excellent framework for creating your own object to build wealth by investing in real estate. Strengths provides a contrarian view that is different from the common knowledge found in most personal finance education. Focus on turning income you earn into assets that produce even more income. Encourage controlling spending and expenses. Explains why investors should focus on real estate versus other asset types. Emphasize the power of thought and continual learning. Talks about taking action instead of just thinking about it. Please don't forget to subscribe our channel and do not forget like and comment on, and meet you next video.